Hey everybody, a clean-shaven and humbled Mac here for OCR Kings, doing a quick after-action of the New Jersey Tri-State Spartan Super. That was a tough one. If you were there, you know that took place during a nor'easter. Super cold temperatures, driving rain, lots of wind. It was rough. Okay, people throw around the term brutal a little bit too readily. You know, if you're talking about something being out in the cold, being exposed, you know, I would term something like being in Bastogne, maybe in December 1944, where people are shooting at you and shelling you. That would be brutal. This was rough. All right, you would think, oh, you know, you went in for an OCR and there was cold temperatures. Yeah, okay, no big deal. Or there was rain. No big deal. Or there was a little bit of wind. Boo-hoo, right? Well, you stack all of those things on top of each other. 41 degrees at the base, 39 degrees at the top. Just incessant, heavy rain, and some really, really strong gusts of wind when there weren't breezes or a constant breeze of wind. It was rough. There were a lot of cold weather casualties. Those guys, you know, you thought you're tough, and you went out there scantily clad, and your little, you know, biker shorts on, and your spandex short sleeve shirt, and not much else. Yeah, a lot of those guys by the first water station, certainly by the second, were cold weather casualties. They had those silver emergency blankets on, wrapped up, looking like a TV dinner, shaking, couldn't speak, not good. Not sure on the footage for this one because the lens was a mess. I tried very, very, very diligently, very hard to keep the lens clear. I had little pieces of ShamWow, plug for you guys, trying to chamois off some of the water, but it was a futile effort because it was just horrible. Those are slippery, huh? As for me, you know, clean shaven here, doing something with the kids for Halloween as part of a costume, but also a little bit of a mark of humility. Full disclosure, right off the bat, toward the end, my strength, zap, done. Olympus, the Herc hoist, and the rope climb were right on top of each other. They were within yards of each other, right at the bottom. Made it through about 2/3. Maybe 3/4 of Olympus, and that was it. Fell right off that thing. My calves cramped so severely. It was a little bit of pain. Okay, it hurt, but I was worried about the dismount, and I was thinking, and then my shoulders gave out, and boom. By the time I was done with the burpees there, you gotta pay the price, which I did. I got to the Herc hoist, and being wet on top of its normal weight, and being smoked. I was done. I got it maybe 6 foot off the deck, and I was toast. Went to go get to the rope. Which, hey, it's climbing ropes. It's me. I love climbing ropes. Both legs seized, super tight. My left calf looked like a heart. The guys that were down there watching the obstacle, you know, the officials or the volunteers, they saw it going boom, 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 boom. They're like, you know, it's as many tries as you want. I knew there was no way I was getting up there. I took my pinch. I got my 30 burpees done with a lot of cursing, and then strolled across the finish line. At which time, I got this All right, see if you guys can make it out. All right, it's pretty cool. 2018. It's a Spartan Mountain Series race. Pretty cool. And there's the wedge. See, on the back. Pretty cool. Nice medal. I wanted a Mountain Series medal. So, let's see if we can get that with the light. Cool. Alright. Spartan Super. Good stuff. As for the course I thought was laid out and marked very well. There were some times in the woods where I thought I was going to lose the trail, and I veered off. There were signs that I don't remember seeing before. They were formal signs with a red circle and a white X that said wrong way. They were all over the place, and I used a couple of those. That was pretty good. The white tape in the woods, great. The obstacle layouts, except for the end, I thought were fair. Okay. Before I get into the rest, I have to say that we love Mountain Creek. Big up to Vernon, New Jersey. It's like our home away from home. Love the course, love the people. I think Spartan did a good job as far as volunteers and some of the safety things that they had out there. And it was a good event. It was rough. It was hard. Why was it so hard? Well, you had the weather event. That was the hardest obstacle of the whole thing.
Which was colder, this one or Greek Peak?
This one.
This one, yeah? Yeah, the freaking rain, right?
Yeah.
The rain produced so much mud, and you would think, well, what do you expect? You know, it's an OCR, it's a mud run. Boo-hoo, why are you crying? Well, not really. But the mud was everywhere, thick, slippery, okay? It was on the ascents, it was on the declines, it was on the flat trails, it was everywhere. Why is that significant? Well, going up, people were falling all over the place. Okay? Going down, people were getting stuck, falling all over the place. It created a bit of a hazard. There was danger there. Specifically, at the bucket carry. Now, the bucket carry is supposed to be a strength obstacle. It's supposed to be difficult, but this was flat out dangerous. Okay, you picked up your bucket and you immediately went up a pretty sharp incline, but the incline was inundated with so much mud, people were slipping and falling and dropping their buckets. One person in particular I saw dropped it on their own leg, and I don't think there's any way that person couldn't have broken a bone. He was a casualty. He slid down. He was gone. Right? There were also buckets abandoned right there on the trail. They were sitting right there. They looked like a nice inviting seat. Okay. Luckily, I made it to the top. Took a pause. I got to watch the carnage. People falling down. Okay, you'd think, all right, yeah, people are falling, no big deal. But when they're falling with the bucket on top of them, or they fall and the bucket rolls, at which time I and some other folks were yelling, "Bucket!" To look out. That's dangerous, because not only do you take out yourself, you take out some other people further downrange. So that was one of my only complaints. Maybe that could have been reorganized. I don't know. You can't account for the weather, but we all knew the nor'easter was coming. So that was dangerous. All of the aluminum, the metal obstacles, bender, the monkey bars, I was surprised. And the rig. These are all kind of, I like them. They're gimmies. Usually, I don't mean to sound, snarky or whatever, but those are just fun obstacles. They were very slippery in all of that rain. So a lot of people falling off the monkey bars with and without gloves. Falling sideways, falling backwards. It was a mess. It was a mess. Getting back to rough versus brutal, with the casualties, we did see, at least Damer did, he was at the bottom, more on that in a second. He saw somebody coming through, totally unconfirmed, but it certainly looked like they had a compound fracture. Okay? Don't know if it was a guy with a bucket or something to that effect, but all of the people who were in the triage center, the med tent or whatever, were ejected. It's like, get out. Okay? They came through, there was some blood, there was, the gurneys, it was a mess. Okay. As far as the cold weather folks around Bender helped a friend of ours who was on the brink of hypothermia. Right. Hands swollen, red, having a hard time speaking. Those are, all signs that it's time to take a time out. Right up there by Bender, there was either part of a it was either a utility shed or part of one of the lifts. I don't know what it was exactly, but they had it filled with people with the aluminum or the silver blankets getting warm, and they had a lot of vehicles, not only there, but on the course, throughout, shuttling people down. There were a lot of DNFs, but when it comes to safety, you better, know when it's time to quit and go home safe, rather than try to push it and get into real trouble. So I helped our friend, got him off. They were very, very good up there. Good on you, Mountain Creek and Spartan, for having safety personnel and EMTs and those throughout, because you really did need it. The water situation, great. I used my Camelback just sparingly, or Dolphin Pack, if you will. There was plenty of water throughout, and the typical obstacles, I thought, the rest of them, with the exception of the ones at the bottom, were spaced out pretty well. It was a good course. It was just rough. It was hard. Okay, I just finished my routine of cleaning up my gear, and the stuff weighed a ton. It weighed a ton. It was so soaked. So in the end, my buddy Damer's words, maybe the next nor'easter that's coming through, we seek for a deferral, because we did it, and it was not the most enjoyable thing, and wouldn't be in a rush to be that cold and do it again. Speaking about being so cold and being humbled by, falling off all of those things at the end, I didn't want to do a sign-off with the footage. There was beer, good beer, Guinness, at the car. Couldn't care less. Didn't even think about it. Wasn't in the mood, and I was just too damn cold. Took me about half an hour to get changed out of my wet gear. And I was exhausted by that point. I had my little lobster claw hands. They started to curl in from being so cold, and getting crampy, which I think was a byproduct of being cold. My body tried to warm up, and running in all that technical mud in the woods, trying not to fall over, trying not to trip, trying not to get stuck in the mud. All of that very, very technical running, I was kind of smoked. Felt good otherwise until the end, but that's when it all caught up with me. So, what does that mean? Pity party is now over. Just being humbled, taking a beating. The way I see it, everybody takes a beating sometimes. And now it's just time to come back, train with an additional feeling of urgency, ferocity, and just remember that anybody, especially myself, when you're humbled, you don't believe in your own bullshit. You don't believe in the myth that you build up in your head about yourself. It keeps you grounded. So onwards and upwards. Damer continues to heal. He was out for this one, something that he did to his ankle, as you may have seen before. It continues to heal, but now there's another issue. He had a tendon that popped, and he's just kind of a mess. So it was a good, thank goodness he didn't do this one, because again, with the technicalness of the mud in the woods, it would have been a mess. One more time. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been Mac for OCR Kings, reminding you, as always, train hard, have fun.